My ability to succeed in life has been predicated on thinking differently to others. When you think like the crowd, when you think like the 99%, you will inevitably have the outcome of the 99% because your actions are aligned to those people. All you have to do is take a step back and realize that most people have a disastrous life. They cannot manage relationships, they cannot manage their health, they cannot manage their finances, their spirituality, or their well-being. So why would you listen to their advice? I've always been a contrarian in my way of thinking, in my way of operating, in my way of processing and dissecting the world and its mysteries. Because when we come into this world, if you come in with humility, you come in realizing you don't know anything and that this entire quest is a quest of exploration for truth. Truth is what will lead you to a life of freedom, which is what we're all after. We're not after money. If you were chasing money and you knew that money was going to give you unhappiness, and you wouldn't chase it. You chase money because of the things that it's going to get you, but I'm going to teach you in this lesson and in this data set how you can ensure yourself to not chase, but to become. And you become by one, establishing your own frameworks of thinking. This means that you don't operate based off of this person is a source of authority or this institution is a source of authority, therefore they are truth. Under that premise, right? So under the premise of authority, abuse takes place. That's why you cannot trust authority unless it's God himself or unless it's your intuition. Your intuition is the second thing that you have to develop. You've heard it many times being mentioned, trust your gut. So the second part of this equation isn't just being able to create your own mental models and frameworks for thinking and decision making, but two is having a vessel that is clean and pure so that you can process information accurately, efficiently, and with no poison and with clarity. So your vessel must be pure, your gut must be purified. You have to stay away from the things that are causing inflammation, heavy metal toxicity, and causing a haywire in your brain. You cannot optimize for a full life if your health is not part of the equation. That's why health is such an important part of decision making, because your health dictates your mood and your emotions, and your mood and emotions play a massive impact into what? Into your decision making and into your health and overall well-being. And if you're not well, people ask me often, what is if you could only have one thing, what's the most important thing? And I don't say health, I say wellness. Wellness is the number one thing that you can have, being well. So achieving a state of wellness, developing mental models and patterns to dissect, break down information to determine whether something is true or false. And then finally is going for failure. This idea of failure is very fascinating to me because we've been conditioned and trained that failure is something negative. But you only fail if you try, and you only trip if you dance. So under that same premise, failure is inevitable. And you fail and you fail and you fail, and eventually you succeed, and you still feel like a failure, but you succeeded because all you had to do was be present, show up, be around, process information, have a clean vessel, and eventually what to others seemed like luck, to you it just seemed like opportunity, because it's a game of numbers. It's a game of who shows up. It's a game of who's the last man standing, who's the last guy around, who's the guy that wins the game. When you understand that this is the framework that you can utilize in a mindset, saying, hey, failure, it can happen, but what if success happens? What if I win? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take this chance. Okay, I might lose, but what if I win? What's on the other side? You develop a clean vessel and you work on polishing your health, not for any other reason, but the reason that it will give you the ability to process information and operate out of a state of wellness. And then finally, like I said, is developing those mental models, those frameworks of thinking so you can determine whether something's true or false. A very basic one is the scientific method, for example, or using, some sort of method that allows you to break down and dissect a thought with no emotion attached to it. If you want to win in life, if you want to succeed, implement these three basic ways of operating into your daily routine, and the world is yours for the taking. See you soon, my friend.